Well, good morning, lords and ladies. Welcome to another episode of A Morning with the Lord. Today is the 25th of the 10th, 2021. Lovely Monday here in Australia. And I'm trying a little bit different today. I'm using a microphone rather than my computer mic, so hopefully the quality is a little bit better, but I'm not sure how we're going to go when it comes to playing videos and you guys being able to hear it, so hopefully it works out alright. If you can hear any background noise, it's currently raining, so we got that going on in the background, but we'll see how we go. Alright, well, let's get cracking. We're going to flick through some, we're going to start off looking over our usual YouTube listings here. And still the first thing coming up is the vaccine rollout tracker. You know, they love going into depth on that. Australian government launches new COVID-19 campaign. How long is that? 22 minutes. Ooh, I don't know if we'll jump into that one. But they got the general here. We're going to start this off. We may not listen to this whole 22-minute video, but let's start this off. Let's see where they're going.
And good morning. I'm joined by Lieutenant General Fruin to give an update on the COVID Shield rollout, but also the new advertising campaign, the next phase, to assist those last people who haven't yet had their first dose to come forward, and with a particular focus on Indigenous Australians, where we've had excellent progress in the last 2 weeks. Today is a very important day for Australian women and families. It's a day of hope for Australian women and a day of hope for families. 2 new listings, one under the Pharmaceutical Benefit Scheme and one for Medicare. The challenge of breast cancer is very significant. We know 1 in 7 Australian women over the course of their lives are likely to face a diagnosis of breast cancer. As part of that, today, 55 Australian women are likely to be diagnosed with breast cancer. Tomorrow, another 55, and the day after that, another 55 women. And so new treatments are immensely important for health, for longevity, and for hope. I'm delighted to be able to announce that as of the 1st of November, a breakthrough new treatment for metastatic breast cancer, in particular double negative, which means that for women who are in later stages of breast cancer, inoperable or metastatic, they will have access to Verzenio, which can save their lives, protect their lives, and extend their lives. It would otherwise cost $80,000 a year and can now be available for as little as $6.60 per script under the PBS. And this will help 1,600 Australian women in any year, and that's 1,600 opportunities for a better life and a longer life, and hope for 1,600 families and all of their extended circles. So, you know, as we've been fighting COVID, it's immensely important that we continue to focus on all of the general health items. A second thing is a new listing for Medicare from the 1st of November for Australian families, and this is a better, stronger pathway for IVF, and so new hope for Australian families. Some of you may remember that we established under the Medical Research Future Fund Mackenzie's Mission, named in honour of a beautiful little 9-month-old girl, Mackenzie Casella, who lost her battle with spinal muscular atrophy. And SMA is a genetic condition, and other genetic conditions include cystic fibrosis, include Fragile X syndrome, Huntington's disease, and some of these lead to beautiful young children that are born and struggle and either have lifelong debilitating conditions or lose their lives at a very young age or an early age. So Mackenzie's mission was about carrier screening to help parents find out whether they carried the genetic markers for cystic fibrosis or Fragile X or spinal muscular atrophy. And that's seeing thousands and thousands of parents given the information. But the next stage is Mackenzie's gift. And Mackenzie's gift, which we're announcing today, is pre-implantation genetic testing for families who are going through IVF. That means that if there is a fertilised egg that is clear of SMA or Fragile X, they can go ahead with the IVF and go ahead knowing that this beautiful young child will be born free of the condition which might otherwise lead to an agonising 1 or 2 years of life. So Mackenzie's mission has now been complemented by Mackenzie's gift, and there are 15,000 babies born with IVF in Australia every year. Almost 5% of our children are IVF babies, and that's an incredible thing. But this means more children will now be born free of genetic conditions, and for parents it's a saving of $3,000 to $4,000 a year. For many, they would never have been able to have afforded that given other costs that they face. So they're immensely important steps forward. A new medicine for breast cancer, a new treatment to help make IVF safer and easier for parents. And then in terms of the rollout, another very significant...
Just before we get into the vaccine rollout there, that's obviously what he's talking about there is some great stuff. You know, if we can do anything when it comes to, you know, better treatment for any sickness, you know, give him a round of applause. We'll give him a little Lord Duffield round of applause there. Very good, very good. And I want to also say, just in passing, very good for old Bud there doing speaking, because he hasn't looked like at least once he's looked down at a piece of paper. He's at least talking about that from knowledge, not just spurting out a speech. So, you know, it's good. But the genetic thing is an interesting topic at the moment. Someone brought up to me the other day, apparently one of the premiers, I'm not sure which one it is, might not be New South Wales, it might be Queensland, but like one of their fathers is right up in the genetic research and stuff like this. And you know, this is a topic of conversation which has been coming up for a while, you know, especially when it comes to, you know, conspiracy theory stuff. You know, I was only saying to someone the other day, one of the big, you know, talking points when it comes to conspiracy theorists is that they want to try and sterilise us. And this push for IVF treatment would sort of seem like it's going the other way. But it's a funny connection, you know, the IVF treatment being pushed when the other half says they're trying to stop us having babies. They're trying to take our babies. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how this all falls down. And the cancer thing is another, I can't remember when it was, but it was a few years ago. I remember someone coming out, because there was a lot of cancer research in Australia, which there has been for many years, you know, like all countries where everyone tries to work on that, but you know, Australia being underneath the hole in the ozone layer and whatnot. We got a very high cancer rate, so anything with help with that is good. And I remember someone saying that we should be able to cure cancer soon. It was like out of an Australian doctor. He said there's stuff coming. There's stuff coming. We've almost nailed this. It's sort of the vibe you get. But yeah, anyway, let's continue. They're about to bring out the general to talk about the vaccine rollout. So let's see if this is kind of like a what do they call it? A compliment sandwich. They could be like coming out with good stuff, and here comes the wrecking ball.
Day yesterday, we've now passed 34.2 million. 34.2 million vaccinations, and critically 86.6% of people with first doses and 73.1% of people with second doses. But in order to bring more people to step forward, we move now to the next phase of the advertising campaign, and I'd invite Lieutenant General Fruin to set that out. JJ?
Thanks, Minister. Good morning, everybody. The Minister just mentioned that we're now at over 86% first dose nationally and more than 73% fully vaccinated. And I'd like to thank all Australians who have come forward to get vaccinated so far. And as the Minister's mentioned, today we are launching the next phase of our communications campaign, really focused at that last 10 to 15% of the nation who are yet to come forward and get vaccinated. The campaign is called Spread Freedom. It's designed to really highlight the close links between vaccination and either regaining those freedoms that we all want to enjoy, or protecting those freedoms in the states where we haven't yet seen outbreaks. So these ads will run from tonight. I encourage everybody to see them, and of course, please, if you haven't come forward to get vaccinated yet, please do. We've now got enough vaccines distributed around the country to fully vaccinate, double dose, all Australians who want to get vaccinated. I'll also remind people that if you haven't started your vaccination course, at best case, it's a 6-week process to get the full protections of the vaccines. You have to get the first dose, get the second dose, then wait a couple of weeks. And if you want to be fully protected before Christmas, then you really need to start coming forward now for that first dose to get the whole process done. Additionally, we're up over 60% of our First Nations peoples with first dose, and we're closing on 50% of our Indigenous people being fully vaccinated. Still a long way to go, but for the last fortnight now, the first dose rates for Indigenous Australians have exceeded the national first dose rates, which is very encouraging, and we're keen to continue with that. And similarly, we are also launching a new PR campaign focused specifically on our Indigenous folks, called For All of Us, and it really emphasises this is for Indigenous peoples.
I just want to interject there. I'm a little bit confused about what he just said. Not overly confused, but the Indigenous, he just said the Indigenous rates are at 50% or something for first dose, and such for two, something like that. But then he said the Indigenous rates have exceeded the rates of the national. Why? Like, I understand why they're considered differently, why they're not under the same numbers. But how can you go saying that they're less and then more? Is this just like an average numbers thing? Like that statement sounded a little bit contradictory. I probably just didn't hear it right. But the other thing, they need an Aboriginal up here saying this. Like, white dude, fucking leader of the army, telling the Aboriginals they need to fucking buck up. That ain't gonna go down well. If you want to go to the effort, like, to try and talk to a people, talk to a people. Not hard. Alright, let's continue.
It's about their past, it's about their future, and it's about protecting all of their communities. So again, I'd also encourage you to see some of those great products. They feature a range of prominent Indigenous First Australians, including Baker Boy and others. So really good products. And again, I encourage all of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to come forward and get vaccinated to protect yourselves and your communities. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks very much, JJ. I'll start with Jade and then we'll just work.
Alright, they're about to get into question time now. Let's listen. We'll listen to a couple. We're at 8 minutes. We'll go until 10 minutes and just see what the questions are like. Then we'll move on to something else.
Ross.
Thank you. I just want to speak about the Spread the Freedom ad. The ad says we're almost there, but doesn't feature any person wearing a mask. That's including at an airport surrounded by lots of travellers. Epidemiologists expect that we will be wearing masks as part of the ongoing baseline restrictions under Phase C of the plan. So can you confirm in what stage of the plan will we not be wearing masks in these settings? And if not, isn't it a bit disingenuous to say we're nearly there and not wearing masks in the airport?
I might just start and then turn to JJ. These ads are about aspiration. They're about Australians returning to their natural state and their natural freedom.
Yep, and here's where we get to the bullshit. Like, oh, she just nailed it. And the General had a big grin on his face. I bet you he's like, common sense here, people. They're not going to like this. And the other guys had to interject, and listen to him. They're about aspirations. We want to show you what we can't have. It's like, think about it. When you want to go and get a job, do you go and look at the bum with no car? Or do you go and look at the fucking yachts on the marina? I mean, this is simple advertising, people. You got to show people what they can't have.
And aspiration is such an important part of the vaccination program. Hope and aspiration. Okay?
Such an important part of the program. Of course it is. We've got to remind you what you can't have. It's such an important part to bullshit. We need to lie to you. Otherwise, you might realise you're fucked. Oh, well. Alright, let's listen to a couple more. I hope this question time might be good. Alright, let's continue.
Yeah, no, I agree with what the Minister said. These ads are really about just making people who haven't yet made the decision to get vaccinated to realise that there is a very distinct difference between high vaccination rates and the sort of freedoms we wish to enjoy. So that's really what we want people to take out of the ads.
But under what phase of the national plan will we not be wearing masks in some of those settings?
Well, I imagine that by definition, we are already seeing states and territories that don't wear masks, and we're hearing from Victoria and New South Wales and others that there'll be a progression. So I won't speak to individual states. I will speak to aspiration and hope, and that's...
Yeah, there are certain, we aren't necessarily required to wear a mask while down the street, but we still have to wear a mask in, whenever you walk into a store or do anything. And I just want to bring up too, Australia has been talking about bringing the army in to help with the vaccination for, since the start of the outbreak, basically. The word was, it was really just to help numbers. They were going to go through nursing homes and get stuff done just to take the pressure off, local doctors and that sort of thing. Now, I'm not sure if that happened, but, I find it funny that, we have a general in military uniform up spreading this information, because I know people who haven't been vaccinated, and some for medical reasons, some for personal reasons, some because they believe in the conspiracy theories, you know, a wider range of reasons. But I know most people who haven't are scared. Like, people are really getting scared that their freedoms are going to be taken away. And that is only, like, the evidence of that is only supported when they go down the street or talk to someone and people, like, are fucking literally abusive that they haven't had this shot. You know, it's a scary thing. This is a scary, and yeah, you know, that's the goal. You know, it's always been the goal. We've been so scared since fucking 9/11. You know, anthrax, terrorists, swine flu, avian flu, SARS. Now legit SARS. You know, it's just been a never-ending slog of people fucking being scared. And, you know, every time there's someone else that's to blame. You know, there's always something else to look out for. I don't even know if I want to listen to any more of these questions. There didn't look like much else worth checking out on the YouTube front for the news. Australia expecting COVID-19 cases to spike. Alright, this is only a short 5-minute video, and we're expecting... See, I saw a post on Facebook just before I started talking this morning, which, you know, kind of made me want to go and have a look at numbers. And it was on Facebook, so you know it's true. But, yeah, there was someone putting up, like they said earlier, we're in the 70% vaccination rate. And, you know, this is one, when they said we'd be safe enough to receive freedoms back, which we don't have to go down the street in a mask, you know, freedoms back. But, you know, someone said the whole point was like 70% was meant to keep us safe, but our numbers have only gone up of COVID-19 cases, you know. And, like, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, I'm not 100% sure, and I'm not a doctor, but isn't the whole thing with the COVID vaccination is that it might not stop you getting it, but it will severely reduce the impact that the virus has on you. You know, and, like, how can we... it's kind of hard to bridge that gap between, you know, this 70% vaccinated, but numbers still on the rise, but, you know, you're not going to get sick, but people are fucked and we're going to have to go back into lockdown if it gets bad again. And, you know, there is, like, such little coercion behind every statement that's made. It's just, oh, yeah, this is why people get the shits. Anyway, let's have a look at this expected report of COVID-19 cases to spike.
Well, Australia is fast becoming one of the most vaccinated countries in the world, and as a result, for the first time since the pandemic began, the entire country is out of lockdown with the virus circulating in the community.
So what will living with COVID look like? We're joined by the chair of the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness, Professor Jane Halton. Thanks for coming on the show, Professor. Melbourne has just reopened, of course, but with such high case numbers and potentially even more, what are things going to look like over the next few weeks and then months?
Well, we have to be ready, don't we? Because we're going to see more cases in the community, and the reason we've been pushing so hard for vaccination is because this is a highly infectious virus. So we are going to see more case numbers. Sadly, we've seen some more people in hospital, and really sadly, we'll see more people die. But the good news is, because most of our population will be protected by having been vaccinated, then if you get the disease, it's going to be pretty mild, and you'll be able to go and have those legs waxed and that hair cut and those nails done. And I can tell you, I'm still looking forward to a couple of those things myself.
Good. Hey, Professor, overnight, and with cases soaring in Singapore has announced unvaccinated people won't be able to go into the office from next year. Could you see that happening here if cases spike?
Well, I think a number of employers have already told us, haven't they, that they want their workforce to be vaccinated. In New South Wales, there are health orders in place at the moment where if you are not double vaxxed, there are a number of things you can't do. So we're treading that really fine line here, I think, recognising that we really do need everybody vaccinated to protect everybody. So the question of whether or not it's mandated in some workplaces, employers are going to have to make that decision. But as you all know, I'm a huge fan of vaccination. It is the way we protect people. So let's see how we go with our rollout. We really will, particularly in the eastern states. A bit worried about Western Australia, the Northern Territory, and Queensland, but certainly we're showing really good signs of having really high coverage.
We're told the most vulnerable Australians will be able to get their booster shots from next month, which is not far off.
And see, I know a lot of people who aren't even aware that there will be booster shots. I know people that have said, oh, we've heard reports there might be, but, you know, what's the point of booster shots? And that's the thing, people. This is a booster shot. This is what it always has been. And what they were very open about saying it would be in the beginning. You know, but, like, no one gets it. You know, they use this word vaccine. So, like, this is a word that should never be used liberally. You know, you can't just throw that friggin' word around. It is important, you know. Vaccines are important. You know, we wiped out, you know, polio and smallpox, or at least from, you know, our country. There was one that got fully wiped out. I think it was smallpox. I'm not sure, but you know, like that is a testament to human fucking will. This isn't, you know. I don't know. You know, you got these people looking at you with fucking smiles on their faces. Ugh. It's so fucking disgusting. You know. Okay, let's go off. I don't want to hear these people dribble shit anymore. I'm going to the Australian website for the newspaper, The Australian, and let's have a look here. Let's see what's on the headlines listings. We got Nationals negotiate better outcomes for regions by to do with Joyce. Singer Ed Sheeran tests positive to COVID. Oh no. New South Wales Health adds new exposure sites. Coalition support plunges as Glasgow beckons. Left media expose on COVID climate in China. The Green Left media campaign against the Morrison government may backfire, just as it did in the 2019 election. Nationals come to the party on net zero. Joyce, New South Wales. Joyce. Well, at least it's not a whole heap of shit. But yeah, this thing with Barnaby Joyce is just talking about Barnaby Joyce agreeing to reach climate. What do they call it? the whole climate change thing, net neutrality, or whatever the hell. Trying to get out of carbon footprint. And this is definitely probably worth a look in. But I think I might do a bit of research on this one and come back to this tomorrow, because there's a lot behind that one, and I'm not 100% sure how I feel about the whole thing. Like I said, the carbon emission scheme seemed like a crock of shit from the beginning to me, with them being able to trade and swap and whatnot. But putting aside carbon footprint and all that jazz, we should just be looking forward to the future. I understand jobs are important, but fucking we're losing them anyway. If we're going to lose the jobs, it may as well be for something worthwhile, and that's tomorrow. Let's go on to world headlines here from the Australian. And straight up, Glasgow summit. Trump dirty dossier author dragged into Assange case. An XMY5 spy says Trump's dossier author Christopher Steele was being treated differently to Julian Assange. Names as Pressure Mounts. Facebook likely to change name as Pressure Mounts. Alright. Let's have a look at this one. Subscribe. Log in. Fuck you. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. So I got to pay to read the Australian. My bad. Fair enough. It's only $1 a week. I mean, it's not a big thing, but I don't know. I'm not sitting here bloody paying for another fucking subscription right now. Jesus Christ. With all these subscriptions and, all that shit, we're legit paying more for entertainment than we ever have. I mean, granted, we get more entertainment, the number of shit to choose from might, sort of exceed the other. But bloody hell, the amount of subscriptions I have at the moment and money that I'm spending on random stuff that just comes out of my account. I'm so broke. I got to pay for, PlayStation, everything. Oh my word. So yeah, the Australian I can't read because I'm not paying for the subscription. Alright. Give me 5 here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it won't be that long, but I'm just going to pause up for a sec here and queue up the next lot of stuff to look at. Actually, no, it's a Monday. No one's overly keen on hearing bad news. I know I'm not. I'm not really in the mood to go off about everything either. It's a beautiful morning here. A lovely rain hitting the roof. And we just hit 33 minutes. That's a good number. So I think we might leave it there. And I will come back to you tomorrow, bright and bushy-eyed. Well, lords and ladies, thank you for joining me. And until next time.